Greetings, readers and travelers, and welcome to another episode of Stats on Stats. We are back after a bunch of technical issues and trying to get this to work. We are finally able to get this episode out and live. Today, I am joined by my co host, my best friend, and just my overall gaming buddy. I don't really have a good intro for him, but you know him, Joel Harvey. Joel, how we doing today?
That's me. I am doing great.
Are you though?
I'm doing fantastic. Yes, I am.
You don't seem very enthusiastic to be here, Joel. Like I'm over here, I'm bubbling with energy, even though I'm running on like no sleep right now, and you're over there like,
Okay,
yeah. Is that?
I guess it's
Hey.
it's morning. It's not like it's my bedtime, honestly.
Oh, it's your bedtime. Okay, cool. Yeah. Well, I'm
Let's
glad
go
you
with
stayed up for this because today we are joined. I want to say for the first time, but it's not the first time because we've tried this multiple times. But we are joined today by Alex Knight, author in the lit RPG genre. Alex, how are we doing today?
Oh, very good. Very good. Excited to be here. Excited our bribes to the gremlins in the system went through and the technology works now.
Uh,
Yeah, let's do this thing.
those damn little gremlins. We had to get him something.
Yep. Gotta pay the piper.
All right. So, for those of you who don't know, this is Stats on Stats, lit RPG podcast where we talk about lit RPGs, game lit, dungeon cores, pretty much everything that has to do with some really good sci-fi and fantasy books. Joel and I mainly stick to the audiobook section just because we love hearing those sweet, sweet narrators bring some amazing stories to life. But we also occasionally dive into the Kindleverse and look at all these books. The books we are talking about today are available on Audible and on Kindle. Are they on the Kindle Unlimited?
They are, yes.
All right. So if you have Kindle Unlimited, you are able to, download, I think, like up to 20 books at a time and borrow them from the Kindle sphere of Amazon and go through a ton of books. And two of these books are going to be Rise to Glory, which is really damn good. And I'm going to share my thoughts on that here soon. And then also Paragon of Blood. Now, the audiobook section, if you've never used Audible before, you get a free like first month membership as a trial, and they give you one free credit. You can use that credit, go and pick out a book. So we hope to help you guys find some really good books today. Or if you are an audiobook or Kindle person, we're gonna hope to help you find a new book to read. So let's go ahead and dive on in. Alex, would you rather discuss Paragon of Blood first or Rise to Glory first?
Let's go chronologically. So, Rise to Glory.
All right, we're going to start with Rise to Glory. We're going in strong. All right. So, give us a little bit of info on what is Rise to Glory.
Rise to Glory is the video game that I wish I could play every day. It's basically a lit RPG novel following a semi-pro esports team competing in an MMO with heavy PvP elements. And it's set in the near future where esports gaming has surpassed the NHL, the NFL, the NBA, all the sports leagues as the primary form of entertainment. So those that go pro are superstars, and this tournament's a bit of a big deal.
All right. And when we open up the book, we start off in the middle of a match right before the qualifying rounds, right? And
Yes.
we get to meet our lovely main character. Why don't you tell us a little bit about him real quick?
Yeah, so Sebastian, or as he's more commonly known, Bash, is our cocky but confident, but deservedly so, main character, who for a long time has been competing on his team to much success. And the story opens with him getting a little warm-up round in right before going into the most recent tournament, which if his team wins, they will officially go pro and be able to play video games for a living, which is a pretty good gig and an even better gig in the book setting in the near future of 2035.
All right. And Bash's role when he normally plays is the Berserker class, right?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Which what would you say the best, like, let's if we're talking World of Warcraft or Smite, what would you say best describes the Berserker like setup for the playstyle?
Berserker is very much, honestly, the best way to describe it is like Warrior from D&D. Really,
Okay.
it's just it's an in-your-face swinging a big axe or hammer kind of meathead of a class. Decently tanky on health, but primarily just deals a ton of damage and hopefully hurls a few insults in there as well, while just smashing you with something big and heavy. I believe his hammer is described as the equivalent of the engine block of a car attached to the end of a stick. And I get great pleasure out of imagining him just swinging this absolutely, 2-ton hammer and just bashing people around like, baseballs off a bat. It's an aggro class with a little bit of crowd control and the fact that he might just absolutely blast you out of the arena with one big wind-up swing.
See, when I was listening to it, I was getting some PTSD of back to our Smite days when Joel and I would play Smite constantly, and he was giving me some hardcore Hercules vibes
Very accurate.
because
Very.
I would definitely be up in people's faces with Hercules.
Hercules.
It's
was
very
such a
honest,
bully.
right? Just you get up close and you're just like, look, here's my health pool, here's my damage. I'm just gonna wail on you. Can you beat that? If not, we'll talk some smack as you go down. Then.
Yeah, I mean, it's also not like there's no multiplayer experience like some good old trash talking. Like, yeah, sometimes it gets a little out of hand. I sometimes let it get a little out of hand. I'll be honest, I'm that guy. Like, I will take it a step too far sometimes, but I try to
A
keep
little
it in.
extra salt.
Oh, a little. I got banned from Xbox for a day because someone was being a capital "See you next Tuesday," and I let them know.
I mean, I've played Rocket League for years now,
Oh,
and
God.
I've now committed to full chat off. It's a much better gaming experience when you don't have 11-year-olds just absolutely ragging on you the whole match.
I play battle royales, and I mean I stream with them sometimes, and sometimes I'm like, I don't know if I can play this when I have like open mics because people drop words that are definitely against TOS. Like I played Apex yesterday and I streamed it, and I wish I would not have turned game chat on for a little bit because it was a certain word I'm definitely not allowed to say multiple times. I was like, can I? Do I say something? No, we're just gonna leave it there. So, but as we follow through the book, actually, you know what, Joel, why don't you take over a little bit? I'll let you share your thoughts on Rise to Glory.
All right. So, where am I picking up?
We just finished the tournament or not the tournament, the first like game, the prologue essentially.
Qualifiers. Yeah. So they finished that game. Bash sort of goes off on his own, and doesn't really follow the leader, who is Shawshank, or that right?
Shank shot, yeah.
Yeah.
He's a dick.
And he really is. Yeah. But yeah, so he goes off and doesn't follow the leader, and he, from what I was listening to, it kind of like he was playing for kills in like capture the flag mission, where it's like you gotta play the objective.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I will tell you, like, this book definitely gave me some Smite PTSD, and like, oh man, there's a reason why I don't play competitive multiplayer games anymore.
Hey, we played Overwatch the other day, and we actually did pretty damn good for like our first few games.
I'm glad that it struck those chords because it's rooted in a lot of history of Overwatch, WoW, Battle Royales, everything. It's a complete gaming history, and it felt very organic to draw from, years of being a gamer and just make the game that was like I would lose my life to this. I would do nothing but no life this game if it existed.
Pretty much. That's kind of how I feel, and I'm hoping at some point we
Yeah,
get a
but from
VR
like
game like this.
One day, please, somebody.
yeah, from the viewpoint of like someone who has sort of sworn off multiplayer, I hate how real like I don't hate. Okay, it pisses me off how realistic this the book is.
Oh, Joel, come on, baby. You know
No,
you
I
love
mean,
it.
it's the fact that I don't like competitive multiplayer where it's at right now. This has nothing to do with the book. Like the book's freaking fantastic,
You
but
love
I was
competitive
definitely wanting
multiplayer.
to throw my phone like the first half of the book. Man, especially when like VO shows up and like auto locks barbarian.
Such a dick
I'm
move.
like,
But that's also
Ugh.
that's the community of online multiplayer. They play the roles
it
they want to
is.
play, and
He
that's it.
captures the online multiplayer so well.
I was
And that is
literally
something
playing Overwatch with my crew last night, and we're a 3-stack, and we come in and pick tank healer, and I'm like,
Where was
that is
our
like
invitation?
Yeah, that's the nicest thing we can do is to be 2 tanks and a healer, freeing up 2 DPS and a healer spot. You know, if you're following a 2-2-2 meta, and the other the other 3 just come in. They're like, we're all gonna pick tank. Let's just go for a 5 tank, 1 healer loadout. And I was like, okay. I see that you have graduated from the school of VO, which is screw the meta. I'm gonna play what I want to play, and
Right.
everybody else
That's every multiplayer game. I mean, granted, there are times when we would like lock mages in on Smite or whatever, and we would already lock in like either Poseidon or a Muzenkob, or not a Muzenkob, Opwash or whoever, and next person's like, I'm gonna go Kukulkan, just auto locks. It's like, what the hell? It's like they want to play, and especially when a new god drops. Fuck that. Anytime a new character or a new god drops, it's a fucking nightmare.
See, my thing is like if you're gonna auto lock a god, you have to be really, really good with it.
Right, you gotta back it up.
And that's why I auto lock Soul 9 times out of 10. Soul or Thanatos, those are my 2 mains. And Joel will tell you, if I pull out those 2, shit's getting real.
It's tryhard mode.
It is tryhard mode. And that your book captures tryhard mode very well, because once Bash gets kicked out of his team and blacklisted from the tournament because he's like, oh, well, you know, hey, you're going to take my shot at glory. You're going to ruin this for all of us. It's like, well, I mean, be a better leader.
Yeah, he very
kind of
much
deserved
his own inefficiencies.
I love Bash. Bash is actually a really relatable character, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing for me.
I feel like there's a lot of most gamers in Bash. I was very much going for that kind of vibe.
You did a good job with that.
Definitely hit the nail on the head.
So
a little too truthful, maybe.
Right.
So after he gets kicked out of his team, and we kind of go through the motions of him talking to other teams, and then he finds out that he got blacklisted, and Shangsha's just like, dude, I don't want to make it a scene. I'm telling you right now, just lay low. You don't want this. You'll be ruined. And he's like, all right, well, time to make my own team. So he recruits his best friend, who is a analyst who doesn't really play.
Yeah.
Then you get I believe she was the former founder of his team.
Former co-founder, yep.
Yeah, with Shangshot, and Shangshot actually eliminated her from the squad and kind of took over.
Yep.
So, and then we get VO.
Mm-hmm. Bit of a personality there. I'll ask you guys a question. VO is based on a real life streamer. Did any immediate names jump to mind? It might not be in your realm. They stream FPS.
I was going to say, gave me some very ninja vibes, but I didn't want to say ninja because I was like, I don't need him coming after me right now. You know, he won't see this. I mean, I I know we can't really mention one of them.
never mind. Yeah, that's it. You got it.
Yeah, because they got banned, right?
That one put.
Hold on. I'm gonna message it to you really quickly, and I'm gonna make sure that I have it because if it's who I think it is, yeah.
I think it just clicked. Yep. I was worried the comparisons were too on the point, but I've been a fan for a long time, and I was like, I have to
If
pay
it's who
homage.
it is, and then yes, that definitely clicks, and I do enjoy them. So
You're on. You're spot on.
damn it. All right, let's go. No, Vio definitely gave off personality traits. Okay, you captured that on the point.
The name VO is an abbreviation of the word violence, and that was my little connection, my little seed there.
And what was the clan they came? The clan title was it Vio's posse or
VO.
Queen.
Vio's queen? That's right.
Yeah.
And her little
It wasn't
following.
auto-lock the class. You had to also snag the team name and just absolutely work with yourself with it.
She is the most annoying character, but she grows on you. I'll
That is
tell
my
you,
greatest accomplishment. That people tell me that they start out hating her and they like her by the end,
I was
but
ready
still hate her a little bit.
I was ready to kill her. I was like, oh my god, I would sacrifice her to the PUBG gods right now.
Like, up until the point where it's like the third time where she throws her weapon, and you're like, why are you throwing your weapon? You don't have another one. Like,
All right, I don't want to give away the entire story, but I do want to talk about some of the elements and game mechanics that we do get along the way with the character development, because the tournament is so damn cool.
dude, they need to make this game though.
If we could get this game out, I would, one, lend my voice for it, and two, play the shit out of it, because
I back that on Patreon.
oh my god, like if we could give this to a which developer would you want to like make this game?
Oh man, that's hard. So many developers have had bad last few years, like lost a lot of standing.
Between lawsuits or just
Probably
bad
Hi-Rez?
games?
Yeah, I can't believe.
I would not give this game to Hi-Rise.
No.
Yeah. Goodness.
And that is nothing against Hi-Rise. It's just they already have way too much on their plate between Smite and Paladins, and the way
Yeah.
Smite is right now, I would rather them fix that game before taking on
Right.
this bigger title. I do.
So I'm gonna go old school with this,
Alright.
and this is absolute fantasy, but I would love to see Valve do it. Like
Okay.
if they could pull it out with what they did with TF2, which obviously it's not in a great place these days, but like if we could channel that raw chaotic energy that they had, I feel like that would work well. Not that they do MMOs, but we're just reaching for the sky here. Let's get some classic Valve insanity into this game.
I was gonna say
I'd be there.
between TF2 and CS:GO, like some of the honestly big games, like that would make sense. And actually, I was going a little bit old school. I was gonna say like old Blizzard, like
Yep, that was my second thought.
old Blizzard, and honestly, Respawn. If I could have Respawn make a game like this, especially with that first person aspect, oh, it would be good. It could be really good. I wouldn't trust this in the hands of Bethesda, just because of the cluster train that is Fallout 76. But ESO was good and actually had a really fun multiplayer experience with the PvP. Like, Joel, how many hours did we spend in the actual Cyrodiil area for PvP on ESO?
Oh man,
A lot.
Yeah,
So
probably like 100 hours.
ish, give or take.
Yeah.
It's funny that you mentioned those because I literally in my head went Respawn, old Blizzard, and then went for the deep cut of like Valve because I mean Overwatch is still good. I still play Overwatch like weekly.
Here's the thing: I don't condone any of the actions that you know Blizzard and their lawsuits had. I do love their games, and I do continue to play them. But I have canceled my subscription to WoW, and I haven't been back for probably about a year. Actually, probably since Shadowlands dropped. I have picked up Diablo 2 remastered on on my PC, Switch, and PS5. Just because that game holds a very special place in my heart.
My whole gaming group dipped out of Overwatch when all that news broke. Like, I think it was last year now, and only after the sale. And that was we were like, I think we're okay now. Like, morally, I think we can go back to it.
I know a lot of people were getting hyped around the Overwatch 2 beta, and I think that's what brought a lot of the community back. Joel and I played, last Monday?
Yeah. So we were
fun.
playing a bunch of different FPS games, and we just kept like going through them to see like what our actual game was. And we were playing like Apex to start with, and I'm like,
which is my forte. That's my forte. That's all I've been like. I've been on an Apex kick. And
see, for me, I'm more quick reaction. So like, you put me in a game of SWAT, and I will top the leaderboards like every time.
He's not kidding.
Nah, and so like games with Apex where you have to hit someone like 50 times for them to actually die. It's like.
Well, and it's not just the way I look at it. It's also, it comes down to gunplay, but it also comes down to your character's abilities, and that's what I like. Even characters that aren't even super offensive, I use in an offensive manner. Like, I play Crypto right now, and I use his EMP drone super offensively. Like, I don't use it as just like, I'm gonna get their shields down or anything. No, I use it to stun them and keep them in pretty much locked in space where I can move.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, Apex is just my game, but when we switched over to Overwatch, we were kicking ass.
Yeah,
because that first game, I ran Moira and you ran Orisa.
Yeah.
And we dominated. I had golden healing, like I out healed a Mercy. I was out damaging our DPS, had the most kills, and also just most time on the objective. And it was payload in London.
Mm-hmm. I love that Moira can it's just healing and damage right there. Just like you're bouncing back and forth for gold with her. It's a very unique position to be in. It's very cool.
If I'm playing Zenyatta, I'm always at the top. My Zenyatta's super scary.
Got those snipes hitting those discords.
Face with Zenyatta. And it's nuts. But
well, it's funny you mention that because a lot of the abilities in Rise to Glory are modified version of Overwatch abilities that I just loved. The wall that Bash can raise once he goes with his eventual new class is 100% an analog to Mei's wall from Overwatch. Because
can we talk about the classes that each of them choose? So we had Vio took Berserker. What were the other two? They were a white mage.
Aisha took Opportunist,
which is like a rogue type character.
Rogue type.
Burglar type thing.
Dez took Bard. To try to like even out like everybody.
Fix the damage.
Like nobody's like a support right now, so he went Bard.
And then Bash goes like a druid.
Bash goes druid. Which I honestly really enjoy how those class like mechanics work together.
See, I just want to like I've been seeing clips of people playing WoW on my Facebook page, and I'm like, I want to make a druid now. Damn it. Damn it.
The good old days.
Like, and back to like if we can make this game, like I'm talking Blizzard, like Lich King era Blizzard.
Yeah.
Some of the best PvP, some of the best moments. And I mean, I was middle school when that dropped. So like, please, let's freaking do it. Oh. So what would you say like your go-to type class would be? Like, did any of like your personality leak out in any of the characters in the book?
Bash's druid class is a pretty good description of how I like to play. I often end up playing tank or healer, but I really like crowd control type things because it's kind of you have to think on a different level when you're thinking about controlling how people move to give yourself better fights. And so I was just really playing in that space of like, it's a pretty potent ability to be able to raise a wall between the enemy team and cut them in half and just immediately change the landscape. So most of his abilities are things that I like to do. But it kind of runs the gamut. I mean, all the abilities in the book were just things that I was like, yeah, this sounds cool. I'll do this, and so I just threw it on a character. So the whole thing was really just stuff that I think was fun. Like Vio's sword throwing, absolutely ridiculous. But if you could be accurate with it, like that's you get hit with an arrow. It's the arrowhead's like what, half an inch wide. You get hit with a great sword. It's like
You're losing something.
yeah, exactly. So high risk, high reward, but I love those plays that are just absolutely like off the wall insane.
I feel like Vio was just high risk, low reward every time, or high risk, no reward. Jesus, God, she was. I don't want to spoil it. I just want to express how much I absolutely disliked her, but she changed my mind, kind of, towards the end.
That was something coming into this book that I'd never done before, was to write characters that didn't initially like each other, and also that might be unlikable to the readers. So this book had a lot of character growth that I hadn't worked with before, and I had to like really massage all of that. But I really liked it. Like it was actually a very rewarding experience to write characters that off the bat just at best were standoffish with one another, and to kind of have them grow together throughout the book was a first for me. But it felt very satisfying at the end once we got there. I look forward to doing that in future books. I think it worked out pretty well, but it is a challenging thing to do. I'll say that.
It was a challenge.
I want the characters. I want characters like Vio that like you at least react to. If it's positive or negative, as long as there's a strong reaction there, then the character hit a chord.
See, here's the thing. It hit a chord because I saw a little bit of myself in Vio. Joel, am I wrong?
I mean, the auto locking definitely. You want to know who like Vio like reminds me of in Smite? She really reminds me of
Don't say
like
it.
old Freya.
God damn it.
Where like she's really slow to start, but like once she gets like all those items and just doing crazy amounts of damage, oh man.
Joel's 10-ring build. Whew.
Oh yeah.
Train gets rolling. Get out of the way.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna say Thanatos with the throwing, Joel. That's exactly where I thought you were going.
Kind of, yeah.
Because that would be me. We'd be playing arena, and I would just be throwing my scythe across the map, and Joel would just be like, "Oh, there's a scythe. Oh, there's another scythe."
Very much a late game build.
Very late game, but also very effective.
Yeah.
So, some of the challenges that they encounter. Why don't you give us a little bit of a brief description of let's do the first two, because there's three, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So we'll save the third one for if people read it. So kind of give them a little bit of a little taste.
Sounds good. Yeah, so the way the tournament that they're playing in, the Glory as it's called, or technically in this world it's a semi-glory because it's a semi-pro tournament. The way it works is you have 3 rounds and X number of teams, and it works as like a battle royale, except in an MMO PvP environment. So you have teams of 4 players all dropped in, battle royale style, falling out of the sky, into a world map. And on that map, there are dungeons, there are NPCs that give you quests, and there are other teams. Completing a dungeon and beating its boss, or completing a quest for an NPC, or killing other teams all gives you points. And every time you die, you lose points. And at the end of each round, the team with, the top X number of teams advance. And so you can basically choose to advance this tournament however you want. But the fact that other teams can kill you and it makes you lose points as well as respawn and lose time, the factor you have to weigh in terms of might not be worth it going to the most lucrative dungeon because if other teams are there, it's going to cramp your style. Speaking of dungeons, in round 1, our team does target a dungeon, which is a cursed tomb of a sorcerer. And has a whole mummy aesthetic to it with sand warriors and a special ability called desiccation. That was a lot of fun to work with. But with any good dungeon, it's not just go in there and wail on the boss till he dies. There's a little twist you got to figure out. And it's actually, that dungeon was home to my favorite mechanic in the book, which was definitely inspired by D&D, but it is a locked, impenetrable door that you can only pass with the correct riddle. And if you do not deliver the correct answer, a magical hand comes out of the door and slaps you for 1 health point, and then closes the door again. And I had far too much fun writing that. Absolutely insane. Doesn't work mechanically in any fashion, but boy, is it fun to have your strong, not too intelligent characters repeatedly fail a riddle and just get wailed on by a magical hand and a door that they should by right be able to break down. Anyway, that's the first dungeon, and then in round 2, well, I guess they technically take like a side quest after that, but I don't think that's what you're referring to in the first 2 challenges. I think you're going for the epic quest that they take in round 2.
Kind of. Just wanted to like give a brief little like, hey, this kind of sets the tone for how the book is.
You get a dungeon in the first round, and in the second round we're going on an epic quest, which is a high stakes. It will take all of your time in the round, so if you fail it, you're very likely to lose. But it is a high stakes quest that involves PvP elements, which to me was reminiscent of like the good days of Lord of the Rings Online, with like monster play.
That's a deep cut. Holy shit.
Showing my age on that one, maybe.
Oh, damn.
But I loved how their monster play, like, it was a big PvP world, but you had quests you could run inside of that while PvP was going on, and I really wanted to bring that element in. So it is an epic quest, which is very difficult, and will involve dodging other teams and hunting down another team that is actively doing their own thing. And those are the first 2 challenges in the book. I think they're a lot of fun.
That was a deep cut. Well, when you said the mummy aesthetic, I have my favorite line from that movie, just the favorite scene, and now you're going for another deep cut, and I'm just like,
hey, it's a good movie and a good game.
Well, anytime someone says the mummy, like, of course, in the lit RPG groups, there's the curse, beware the curse. If anyone asks where book 9 is of, the land, but that's not my favorite. My favorite is, hey, O'Connell. Looks like we got all the horses. Hey, Benny, looks like you're on the wrong side of the river. That scene is executed perfectly. I don't care what anyone says. It's the best scene in the movie.
It is a great... It shows its age in a couple ways, but boy, is it a good movie. We need more of those, like, adventure, comedy, slight horror vibes. Like, that's good stuff.
I really wish the 2017 one would have done better, but sadly... Yeah. We did not get that.
No, we need to do just do a revival and put Brendan Fraser back in the lead role and just roll with it.
I'll be okay with that.
Yup.
So, we've talked a little bit about Rise to Glory, which overall, all right, Joel, we'll give final thoughts on it really quickly. Joel, what were your thoughts on Rise to Glory, real quick, before we pass on?
If you love PvP and like multiplayer, you will absolutely love this book. If not, you'll probably hate the book. Well, be pissed off at the book for the first half, but it is definitely amazing, especially once they get to the semi-glory and just really, really epic gameplay there. But yeah, I enjoyed it. It was, yeah.
I told you would, Joel. Didn't listen to me, but I told you. Haha. My final thoughts are that it was really good. If you're a fan of, MOBAs, PvP type games, this is going to be the book for you. If you see a little toxicity in some of these characters and then you're like, they're not really the problem, you're that player. Just so you know. I owned it. I'm a little bit of VO. I get it. It's okay, but I'm still fun to play with sometimes. I promise. But no, very good. The writing was good. The writing was absolutely fantastic, and Christopher Ragland did an amazing job with the audio. He absolutely killed it, and I honestly can't wait to see more of that book. So, Alex, I need the next book.
Well, thank you guys. I appreciate it. That book was Rise to Glory was an absolute joy to write. It's actually the first book I wrote during pandemic. which was it was kind of my first adjustment to like, whoa, there's a lot of negative kind of psychic energy out in the world right now, a lot of bad vibes.
I worked through the pandemic, so yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty easy being an author and just staying at home during all that, but it was weird how it affected the writing process, and I think a lot of the fun of Rise to Glory was a pushback to that of like, yeah, okay, everything sucks right now, but let's have some fun with this story. I think that came through decently well, so I'm glad y'all liked it. I certainly liked it, and I'd love to go back for a sequel. Buy the book, read the book, shout at the publisher, all that good stuff, and maybe one day we can have a sequel.
Atheon Books, is that who the publisher was for this
This one was through Portal Books.
Portal Books, okay. I knew it was either Atheon or Portal. I couldn't remember, and it doesn't say on the cover for the Audible, which normally it does. So I was like, I'm gonna take a spitball. It's gonna be one of the two. But hey, Portal Books, Books. Let's do it. You put out some really good stuff. This is one of them.
It's honestly a very unique lit RPG because we like hardly ever get the multiplayer PvP aspect of gaming.
I honestly want a battle royale, like a traditional battle royale PvP like book.
I've thought about it because I'm grinding and leveling and whatnot is fun and I enjoy it, but I don't have the mathematical mind to make that interesting in a book. I'm much more about the strategy of quick, Apex or Battlegrounds type games. I've really tried. I have put a fair bit of work into like a first-person shooter battle royale type book, and I have some plans for it. It's not being written currently, but it is something I would like to attempt one day. And then also, my wife is always on me that I should just cave and write a Rocket League lit RPG.
That would be cool. That would actually be pretty cool.
I've got 5
Rocket League, and I would read that.
I've played it since launch and been decently highly ranked. So I feel like if anybody's going to do it, it'd be me. But that would be a unique book to write.
That'd be fun, though.
Mechanics.
That'd be really.
I mean, I'm sure you can do a great job at it. There are books that do tower defense games that give me goosebumps, and I'm like,
I am the bad guy. The first 2 chapters.
Yeah,
so good.
A good title.
Tower defense is a pretty
that one's
boring,
really good.
Game mode, but
That's actually it's narrated by Zachary Johnson and it's by Simon Archer, and holy shit, that one's really good.
That's what I love about lit RPG is it's so fresh and new, and there's just absolutely off the wall ideas that people just run with and they kill it. It's so cool to see in the publishing world. So many genres are well entrenched into this is how you write a book, or you need to emulate Brandon Sanderson or whatever to have a big epic bestseller. And lit RPG is just like, what if I wrote a book about tower defense? That'd be awesome. And then they just rock it.
I like the tower defense. I like the dungeon crawling. I like I love having those characters that also you can just really connect with, which sometimes you get them in a fantasy book, but 9 times, or I don't want to say 9 times out of 10, but a lot of the time I end up hating the main character of an epic fantasy because I'm like, you're an idiot. You're an absolute idiot.
It's harder to relate to fantasy protagonists in a completely different world. Not that it can't be done; it has been done well. But there's just something a lot more personal about this person's just a gamer, man. They're just out there having fun doing their thing. Hey, I'm a gamer out there doing my thing. I can relate.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie. There's times I'm at work and I'm like, please just isekai me right now. Put me in a fantasy world. Let me go off. Please, just do it. So, I feel like we should transition a little bit for the last part of the show to give a little love to your most recent release, right?
Yeah. I think it.
I was gonna say.
It's a little bit tricky because I had a fantasy release, but it came out on Audible a year ago, and then it came out in paperback recently. So I don't really know where all that falls. We can call Paragon the most recent release.
All right, and this was written with Luke Chimilenko.
Yes, we co-op.
Which anything I see Luke Chimilenko's name attached to, it's really good. Actually, one of my favorite. I believe he co-wrote one of my favorite epic fantasies, which I retweeted.
Is that the one with Bryce O'Connor?
Yeah, Mark of Kings.
There you go. Yep.
Yeah, that one's like, so that was a Mark of Kings was my first like book series I started into after I had completed Through the Land for the first time, and I was on a Nick Podell kick, and I was like, all right, this one looks really cool. Okay, it's 18 hours. It'll get me through a good, couple days at work, and I was done within 2 days.
Nonstop.
And then I waited about a year and a half for the sequel to come out, and I was like, I need it.
Yeah, those guys are both brilliant.
Oh, they're
authors.
fantastic.
Yeah.
And Luke actually he has his own lit RPG series.
Savage Dominion.
Yeah, Savage Dominion.
Well,
But there was
Isekai kind of.
another one I'm trying to think of, and I can't think of it. It's not the
Oh, you think of Ascend Online, the
yes,
big
Ascend.
one.
Thank you. I was like, I want to say it was Ascend, but I thought it was by someone else. No, Ascend Online, which
Yep.
was I've read the first few ones of that, and it's really good. So
It's honestly like a foundational, book in the lit RPG genre, and it's so lit RPG moves so fast that Ascend feels like a American like literary classic in terms of like I don't think of it actively because it's such a foundational book for it. I was like, oh yeah, Luke's Savage Dominion's like his thing right now. But no, yeah, Ascend is where he cut his teeth, and that is a good big series.
well, and here's the thing: there were 3 selling points for when I saw the thing for Paragon of Blood. I saw your name attached to it, and I was like, oh, I just read Rise to Glory. It was really good. I saw Luke Chimolenko's name attached to it. I was like, okay, I like his books. He's good. And then I saw who narrated it.
Yes.
Travis Baldry, one of my favorite narrators, and if you haven't seen our episode with Travis, go and watch it. I actually go off on him for making me cry because his performance was damn good. Those were like, and it actually dropped when Joel was out here, and I was like, all right, we're gonna listen to it. My credits didn't hit until the day he left. We were gonna rock out at the bar to it, and nope, didn't get to. Big sad moments.
Well, we have to do it for the sequel then.
Oh, when's the sequel? I got to plan out the time frame.
No date on it yet, but I should. Luke and I have groundwork laid, and writing should begin this summer. So honestly, not June, probably July. We'll start writing it.
All right, if it's out by October, I'll be home. Also,
Perfect.
we'll and with Travis, that man never sleeps. So he's putting out work day and day and day and day and day.
So much work.
I respect that man. I have nothing but the utmost respect for him. He is amazing. Travis, if you're listening, we love you. You're the best. So why don't you give us a little bit of the groundwork of what is Paragon of Blood?
Yeah, so Paragon of Blood is a post-apocalyptic, it's got isekai vibes, but it is set on Earth after a sentient alien system comes to Earth and basically changes reality to give everybody powers and levels and tiers that dictate how strong you are. So it immediately creates a very stratified society based on power level. As well, on top of giving everybody powers and throwing the whole world into chaos and upheaval, it also opens portals to different dimensions, little pocket dimensions, from which monsters of varying powers spew out and cause havoc in the world. But that all happens before the book starts. Our book picks up 100 years after that, in what's left of humanity, with big post-apocalyptic vibes and the pockets of humanity holding out against ever-increasing numbers of dungeon portals opening. And the story follows the adventurers who have to go into these dungeons and defeat them in order to close them and stop them spewing monsters into the world. And the story follows Auric Kane, who has the wonderful misfortune of being given pretty much the lowest tier status you can have in life, and his quest to raise that status and become a little bit more relevant in the course of history.
All right. I was going a little more detail than I thought it was going to be. All right, let's go. So this one, compared to Rise to Glory, was not my forte as much, but it was still really good. I want to start by saying that.
Very different books.
Just because it wasn't my forte does not mean it was bad. It was still really good. I feel like, Joel, was this one a little more your forte? compared to the two.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'll let you go on a little bit on this one.
Yeah, so this book is definitely a little more, I want to say, cultivation-y, where like you have the ranks, and so once you hit like, I think he starts at level like F or whatever, or
I
E.
think D, if I recall.
And like you hit level 10, and then you go to a portal to get basically prestige into like the next letter rank. And then you have to do like 20 level, and you start with a new class every time, which is awesome. And our main character gets the Paragon of Blood main class. And honestly, like, I love like Sanguimancers. They're just like super, I don't know, edgy, but I dig it. I'd love to be an edgelord sometimes.
That's fair.
Sometimes it's fun.
That is fair.
But yeah, so pretty good.
it was good. Had some really good fight scenes. We are kind of running a little bit out of time, so I got to kind of push through this as quickly as possible. But had some really good fight scenes. Had really good character development. I really actually liked the main character a lot, and Travis did a great job at bringing him to life. Your guys' writing was awesome. So,
and I have to throw credit to the intricacies of the system and the leveling.
Mhm.
That was all Luke. That
was a good job. That was some good shit. So
he's got a mind for that. I was like, I'll do the character art, so I'll work on the plot, and I'll set up some fight scenes and stuff. And he's like, I got the mechanics.
That's kind of like how Joel and I are. Joel's the mechanic expert. I'm the character expert.
What about the dungeons?
It's two halves of the same coin, but it's a good coin once you get it all set.
Joel, what were you asking?
What about the dungeons?
So I created a lot of the dungeons in a kind of a skeletal capacity, and then ran them by Luke, and we kind of talked them over and added meat and little twists to them. So a lot of it was like I would come up with the initial setup, and then Luke would come in, we'd talk about it, and he'd find a little twist to put on it that just like made it next level. And I think really the whole co-writing process was like that. Of like I kind of laid a lot of the groundwork and charted the initial course, and then Luke would revise a little bit and just use his brilliance to put twists on things that I was just like, I didn't think about that. That's good. It was a nice process, and it's a recurring theme that I just love putting dungeons in books because I think they're ridiculously fun.
Dungeons are awesome.
Yeah, any thin veneer I can have as a reason to get dungeons into books, they're going to be there. So.
All right. Well, no, Paragon of Blood was really good, and you know what? I'm thinking that the next time Joel and I do a live stream together, we'll do a giveaway of either Rise to Glory or Paragon of Blood. We'll do a giveaway of either one of those to enter. Come in, chat with us, have a good time. Like, let's just make it a fun stream where Joel and I just play some games and enjoy each other's company and shit talk some people. I mean, that's really all we do anyways.
Hey, and if you want, I can't do it for Paragon of Blood because you don't have a paperback out, but if you want, I can make that a signed paperback edition if it's Rise to Glory. So
all right.
Feel free, hit me up on Twitter. We can we'll get that.
We'll schedule something there.
I'm happy to sign one and get it out there as a giveaway as well.
So, all right. So you have a chance to win an audiobook copy of Rise to Glory or Paragon of Blood, or a signed copy of Rise to Glory. All right. There we go. So, like we said, to enter, just come in, chat with us the next time we do a stream. Joel, are we doing a stream later today, or?
I'd be good.
Okay, we'll try to plan something. Just follow us on Twitter. You can follow me at RichDolphus or Stats on Stats Lit, and we'll do a tweet before we go live, and so that way you still have the chance to enter, etc. But we'll go ahead and start wrapping up. And for those of you tuning in for the first time, Joel and I like to do this little thing where we talk about like, hey, what have you been reading? Not going into detail, of course. We just list off the books we've read in the past time since the episodes, which the last episode we had was Ryan DeBruin. So about a month ago, because we had technological issues.
Yeah.
So, Alex, have you been doing any reading recently or anything like that?
Yeah, a little bit. Actually, a Weird West book dropped last week called Cold as Hell.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Jamie Castle, right?
I believe so.
He just followed us on. He actually followed the Stats on Stats Twitter today, or when I logged back in. Yep, Jamie Castle.
Yep, that book dropped while I was on a road trip through the West, and I was like, Weird West, paranormal elements, and if you get the audiobook, it's narrated by Roger C. Clarke, the voice of Arthur Morgan from Red Dead Redemption 2, which is just the coolest. Unfortunately, I have the Kindle version because I like to read more than audiobooks, but yeah, that's what I've been reading right now, and I did half that book in one evening, so it's exceptional.
I have that on my wish list, and I think it's going to probably be one of my next pickups because one, I listen to books when I do driving for Lyft and Uber, so like I'm all like my passengers get to experience. I'm like, hey, do you want to listen? Do you care if I listen to a book while we're driving? They're like, no, go ahead. So I can pay attention. There is a prequel to the book, or like it's a, I guess like a book 0.5 called Dead Acre that is like 4.5 hours long. It is free with the Audible membership. It is awesome. So if you just want a little sample of the world, it's really damn good. I'm gonna see if I can find a physical copy of it because I know it was going into some brick and mortar stores, and if I can find it out in the wild today, I'm going to, because my local store has been getting a lot more stuff recently. They've gotten like 5 or 6 copies in the past week of Legends and Lattes and when by Travis Baldry, and they even said, hey, we can't keep this on the shelf. I'm like, yeah, because I come in and I buy them and I give them to my friends. Like, I'm actually looking at my copy right now.
Yeah, there you go. That was another fun book.
Oh, so good.
Really enjoyed how
very wholesome. Very, very wholesome.
Yeah. Which is awesome. Like keep that vibe going. That was wonderful. We need more of that.
We do. We absolutely do. Hey Joel.
Yeah.
What have you been reading?
Oh man, dude! Today or last week was a great week for book releases.
It was. It was indeed.
It was also
happy birthday, by the way.
A few books. He got me Dungeon Core online book 4.
Book 3.
Mm-hmm.
Book 3.
Schmidt.
Knocked
him on
and
the
then
daily.
he also got
Jonathan?
me Dungeon Crawler Carl.
Oh, I love Jonathan. Sorry, Joel. Go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah. So he also got me Dungeon Crawler Carl and the next book in Artorian's Archives. Which, speaking of wholesome books, Artorian's Archives.
Everyone's favorite grandpa's back.
Yeah. What else did I read? I'm sure there's plenty that I've.
Weren't you going through the Immorelia series
episode.
again?
I did. I went through a re-listen of the Immorelia series and a re-listen to the Completionist Chronicles by Dakota Kraut.
Nice. That was a good classic.
Yeah, I was just really in the mood for some classic series I can sink my teeth into.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. It's funny to call them classics, but the lit RPG genre just...
Yeah, because it just evolves so fast.
Yeah.
All right. Time to go through my list real quick. Oh, Joel, didn't you read book 4 in Ether Collapse too?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like...
Also listened to or read Livy Weiner's books. The
Awakening? Is that what it is?
Martis Dane?
Yeah.
Is that yeah. And then good books.
All right, here's my list. So I apologize. Some of these are not going to be lit RPG, and some of you are going to be like, "Hey, I thought this was a lit RPG show."
Oh,
Hey,
wow.
let me do my list.
Rich
I
kind of
powered
went
through.
on a Star Wars kick.
I went on a Star Wars kick from hell.
Right.
I went on a Star Wars kick. I read through Dynasty of Evil, which is the third book in the Darth Bane trilogy. I powered through Brotherhood, which is the newest book in the canon line of Star Wars books that follows Anakin and Obi-Wan during the Clone Wars, so pre-Revenge of the Sith. Really good. I read through the entirety of the Heir to the Empire trilogy, so the original Thrawn trilogy, which is fucking awesome. I love Thrawn so much, and that was such a good reread. Oh, let's see what else. Shadow City by Animosity Cat was fucking awesome, and it's narrated by the same team who narrates Darklands Online for Dave Busham, which also good. I need to pick up Darklands Online 3. I just finished my first listen through of Blessed Time by Cale. Oh God, Joel, why am I spacing on his last name? Paulman. Thank you. I want to say Paleman, but I was like, that's not right. Paulman, and he's actually our guest on Saturday, or Sunday. So tune in for that. Dungeon Crawler Carl Book 5, Artorian Archives, Book 10, and also I am currently in the middle of Dungeon Crawler Online 3. I'm very mad at Jonathan right now because he made me lose the game yesterday. So, hey, Jonathan, if you're listening to this, fuck you for that.
Now.
It's been years.
It's been years, and I had to lose to you. Thanks, Jonathan. God damn. No, Dungeon Core Online, very good series. Also, some of Travis Baldry's best. Also, Artorian Archives, some of Travis Baldry's best. So, once again, as you can tell, we love Travis Baldry here.
In this house, we love and support.
We love and support everyone, especially Travis Baldry.
There you go.
I am probably going to do a re-listen to Cyber Squad by AK Monster Cat, also Anna, because she's been releasing chapters on her Patreon for book 3, and I'm caught up, and holy shit, I have so many emotions. But
sounds like she's doing it right.
Oh, she's doing it great.
Like
Oh,
great.
she's doing it. She knows. She's like, hey, this is gonna break Rich. Let's do it. And for those of you who don't know, soon the release of Behind Blue Eyes, her cyberpunk noir type book done by Soundbooth Theater, is coming out, and I can't fucking wait.
What a cover! What a title!
Behind Blue Eyes is awesome. I can't wait. And the whole crew for that I've gotten to like experience some of it just from the trailers, and fuck. Just fuck. Holy shit. There's so much I have to share, and I actually have my signed copy over there, and it's very pretty, and I need the rest of the series now. Time to place an order. Oh, High Tables and Hijinks book 4. I powered through that. I don't know if that came out between now and our last episode or if it was before, but Christopher Johns, High Tables and Hijinks, great series. So we got tons of books. You came to the right place if you're looking for lit RPG stuff and just new books to explore, because Joel and I got recommendations for days. I'm pretty sure I have a spreadsheet typed up on my computer. Hey, do this, and this. But now it's time for our final segment.
All right.
Hey, Alex.
Yes, sir.
Where can people find you?
All right. You can find me at authoralexknight.com, my website. That's pretty much the hub for everything. Outside of that, various social media, primarily Twitter, at AlexKnightBooks. Other than that, you can find me between the cover and the acknowledgments at the end.
That's the first time I've heard that one. That
I
is
just came
awesome.
up on the spot.
That was good. I like that. That was good. Hey,
I'm already
Joel.
a bit, but we'll work on that. Maybe that's a tagline coming up or something.
There you go. We'll workshop that. We'll workshop that. Hey, Joel, where can people find you?
Can find me on Twitter, Twitch, I don't know.
What
on
Twitter
YouTube,
and Twitch?
PlayStation, Sir Valor
what's the
Hunter.
handle, Joel?
Across the internet, Sir Valor Hunter. Look it up.
That's what
That
I was it. Damn it.
Dearest Mike Bobby.
And for me, you can find me at Rich Dolphus on Twitter, Rich Dolphs Lit RPG on PSN because they would not let me put Rich Dolphus for some fucking reason. I'm also
Too many characters.
no, they were just like, this name's taken, and I was like, the fuck it is. You can also find me on the Stats on Stats Lit Twitter. I've not been as active because I can't log in on my phone for some reason. I have to do it from my computer, and I haven't spent a lot of time at my computer due to being busy as hell. That's how I power through all my books so quickly. But you can find me there. I also started using TikTok, and I already hate it. I did some voiceover challenges with Zachary Johnson last night, and I'm going to continue to do more just to do some voice work. I'm going to enjoy it. So might as well put the effort into something, right? So this has been Stats on Stats. Like I said, please tune in to some of our streams. It'll give you the chance to win some giveaways of books. I have a few codes for some books, and we'll just try to workshop it depending on what your taste is. Because I got a couple cyberpunk books. I got a couple of, we have now Lit RPG, and I have some books for you. And the ones I don't have codes for, I pay for out of my own pocket to send you. So you have the chance to win. We're going to be doing giveaways. Come join, come hang out, spread the word. We want to introduce some people to some of these great books. But this has been Stats on Stats, Boss Encounter with Alex Knight. We hope you've enjoyed this listen, and we hope to see you again.